What's up, my brothers? So in this video, I want to cover the story that's been hot in the media today about Erik Spoelstras, who is apparently the coach for the Miami Heat. I'm not a sports fan. I don't watch sports, but I love this story. It's amazing. Apparently, he waited until his divorce proceedings were finished to finalize a $120 million contract extension. So I did a little bit of Googling because I found that interesting. That's right up my ballpark. It's one of the conversation pieces I have often, helping guys try to navigate divorce and the slippery slope that is untying the knot in Western family law. If you haven't done it, there's a lot to talk about. I have an entire playlist on this channel about it, but guys don't usually fare very well. They end up often losing access to their kids, sometimes being alienated from them. Women still get about 80% of the custody orders. 90% of alimony flows to mothers and women. Women initiate the vast majority of divorces. You can go right down the list of all the stats. You know, I've covered it many, many times. It's just not that favorable. It's not the best deal for guys these days. And here we have a story, another recent story of a guy that actually seems to have won, seems to have figured out the rules and won the game. And that, my friends, in life is what we must do. We must understand the rules in any game that we play so that we can play the game better. And I think a lot of guys make the grand mistake of just dope-de-dope-de-dope, march into the slaughterhouse, she touched my pee-pee, so let's go get married, right? And they don't understand what they sign up for. 50% of marriages end. And of the ones that remain together, after 8 years, I covered this stat in my book, The Unplugged Alpha. If you haven't read it, get it. It's pinned in the top comment. After 8 years, an average of 12% of people still report being in love with one another, and only 2% report being in a state of bliss. That means being obsessed with one another. So the stats are not great. They're not in your favor if you go and decide to live in a way that the state views as marriage. So I wanted to cover this to at least celebrate the win. So clap, actually very, very slow clap in this type of scenario because this guy deserves it. $120 million contract is nothing to sneeze at. Apparently, through my Googling, I found out that his ex-wife was getting trolled hardcore on social media. I believe it was on Instagram, where guys were basically saying, hey, you untied the knot a little too quick. You should have waited a little bit longer if you wanted the big bag. But this guy got away with the big bag. He played his cards right and, exited correctly. Now, I've talked about some of these strategies. There's many of them, actually. This is just one of them. One of them is understanding, the game and the laws that you're in and making sure that you plan your exit with some precision and, of course, some strategy. Because most people don't. They're just like, I hate this. She goes, get out of the house. He goes, fine. Takes his shit and goes over to his parents' house, his girlfriend's house, wherever it is that he happens to be going. Takes his toys and goes home. And then the process begins to unfold. Sometimes there's a false domestic violence charge. Sometimes there's other allegations. Sometimes it can take years. Sometimes people fight and spend $100,000 over the custody of a dog, or the stupidest one that I heard, my lawyer told me once, he had a client that once wanted to spend $35,000 to fight over a stupid couch. That's where we're at. So when it comes to things like untying the knot, guys, especially for you, because you're the ones that are in the most precarious position. Actually, let me correct that. It's the one that makes more money that ends up being in the precarious position. The one that brings home the bacon is the one that usually ends up getting the short end of the stick. It's not very often that women marry down and, he's a stay-at-home dad or he makes a lot less money than she does. It's usually the other way around because women tend to marry across and up on socioeconomic scales, so they tend to get better guys who make more money. So that's why it's usually the guy that ends up getting put through the grinder and doesn't get the best deal. He gets really, really bad deals, except for this case. So again, slow clap, celebrate this for this dude, this coach of the Miami Heat, and for the owners and the people and the lawyers and everybody that collaborated with this coach and everybody around, securing this deal after the ink was dry on the paper and they finalized the actual divorce. So there are silver linings out there. Sometimes good things do happen. There's another story that I heard earlier in the year. There was a footballer. I can't remember his name for the life of me. I think he was Moroccan or something like that. But he ended up getting divorced from this older gal. She was a soap opera star from Spain. And he never earned a dime. All of his money went through his mom. All of his assets, all of his real estate, everything he owned went through his mother. So on paper, when they filed for divorce, and I think she was the one that initiated it, which is even funnier, she didn't get a whole lot out of it. Anyway, so if you guys want to actually know more, all the fine details of untying the knot and doing it properly, I actually have a course. I developed a course called The Unplugged Alpha's Guide to Divorce. So I'll leave that pinned in the top comment. You should go check it out if you're thinking about untying the knot and making sure you do it properly and fairly. See you guys later. Have an awesome day. Peace out.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up.